Hey, it's Jeff. Super excited about this podcast, and it took me a while to get out. We had some sound issues, which I finally got fixed and sent back to me. And so let me get into this here. So Sean, it's awesome because you reached out to me. If you know anything about Sean, man, he hates health scores. I'm sort of in that boat now too. We're seeing a lot of people not waiting for health scores, and also people with beautiful mind their health scores, and it's just never perfect. Where a lot of people now are going for like variances in data and things like that. So Sean and I got into that. So if you don't know anything about Sean, he runs customer success for EMEA and Asia Pacific at Supermetrics. What we did is we really dove in and talked about scope, right? And you'll see this trend throughout all these podcasts here. People want to know like how big the thing should be, what platform it sits on. Am I using Claude here? Do I build or buy? And Sean didn't do that. He picked one problem, like I always say, map out your customer journey, find out where the problems are, go in and fix it. So Sean's problem was easy to describe. 62% of the churn on his install base was avoidable, and their system that's supposed to catch it was a color. Green, yellow, orange, red, you know the deal. I hate orange. It's the worst. I cannot stand that. There's no burnt sienna, there's no yellow green. It should be like a stoplight. So we got into that. So anyways, listen to the conversation, stop listening to me. And Sean, sorry it took so long, and make sure we use the right mics next time.
To get into your hackathon, we have so many people that are just, here's a Claude tutorial. They're like, what do I do?
I think so many of them get used to, like, they come from a ChatGPT world first and foremost, which is super basic.
Yeah, that's how we started. Yeah.
When they log in, they go to Claude, they go, oh my God, this is clearly so much more complicated, especially when they see it being so transparent about what exactly it is it's doing. I can see folks getting overwhelmed very quick.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about your role, where you are, and then we can get into the fantastic AI stuff that you've been building.
Yeah, for sure. So, Reid, I'm head of customer success for EMEA and JAPAC here in Supermetrics. And prior to that, would have led CS teams in Personio and HubSpot quite some time.
That's awesome. So, talk to me about this renewal calculator, this renewal score problem that you were trying to fix, because we always just want to fix problems. We don't want to just build crap.
Yep. So when I came into the company, I found that I did what I always do when I inherit a team, is take a look at what are the team doing about risk, because at the end of the day, retention is our number one focus. And I found that the team themselves were, sure enough, were logging risks, but their risks would be during the renewal window. There wouldn't be anything really logged within our CRM or our CSP prior to renewals opening up. Despite the fact that we go through con calls and go through email transcripts and everything and say, there are risk signals here, but we're just not getting the behavior in. And the problem was, it meant that when CSMs were finally thinking about how do I save an account, damage was already done. There was no clear, this was the strategy we were doing to avoid a risk. And on top of that, when they were going to other departments and saying, hey, this account is at risk, we were using a normal health scoring model, which would show green, yellow, orange, or red. And the problem we would have is that's far too vague for other departments to see how they can make an impact on it. So what was happening was, we were getting a hell of a lot of churn that was avoidable. My own analysis was the 62% number on how much churn was actually could have been avoided had the CSM gotten in touch earlier or logged the risk earlier and was more involved. It's a pretty damning number. So that was what I was trying to solve. And how do we get our CSMs to think more proactively about risk, but how do we also get risky accounts in front of other teams sooner so we can work as one unit to alleviate it?
That's amazing. You're more kind on your fixable or non-fixable. And I'm like, unless they're going out of business.
The person who's like, I don't give up until the renewal's passed. And even with that, I'm like, we're still keeping this open. There's a win back campaign going to be kicking in.
You're saying there's a chance.
Yes. I'm going to reach back out to you 6 months' time to go, how was that new tool? I know it's not good.
I don't expect that you caught this, but I told this story recently where when I was at Bright Cove, like 2000, well, we had an enterprise rep and he would always reach out 3 weeks after he lost a deal. Like, how's that onboarding go? And they're like, it sucks. If you can get your implementation team on a call today or tomorrow, we'll switch over to you. So I didn't was always ringing. We're like, yep, we can do it.
Every time we were the same, one of my enterprise folks did that nonstop. We just reach out, and the amount of deals we win back were crazy. I think it's just because people don't realize how painful it is to move to a new tool sometimes, and not all implementations are carried equally.
Yeah. Well, talk about all these fantastic data sources that you were able to pull together.
Yeah. So I went across our entire tech stack. So our tech stack is CRM is Salesforce. We have Gong. We have Zendesk for the support team. We have our data warehousing and BigQuery for all of our product insights. We use our CSAT scoring as well. And we are launching Gainsight here on that side.
Are you using Staircase as well?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. Well, essentially, why what you built is even more amazing. That is the CS Dream stack. That like you should be able to do your job with that stuff.
100%. I used the conversation with the team of saying, this is the tool that's going to have you away from transactional conversations. It's going to handle so much here for you, and you're going to be able to do really powerful, tailored meetings with your customers. Like, they're going to leave going, oh, I'm clearly the only customer for this CSM. They don't have anyone else.
Yeah, so funny. Now, it's a great stack. Somebody, I can't remember, it was a terrible 80s movie, but they were selling this powered rifle with a high-powered scope, and they said the only person that can miss is the person stupid enough to buy it all. I love it. But this gets into what we're seeing a lot of, which is don't let a single product team run your business. Mm-hmm. You need to run your business how you run it, right? Yeah, so talk to me about what was missing in this renewal aspect and what you built, how you got off of 15 tabs of spreadsheets.
Yeah, so 15 tabs per customer. Basically, what we had built then was kind of taking two-pronged approach. How do I get CSMs to think about risk from day zero? And how do I get them also thinking about how the entire tech stack could help make them much more proactive than where they are today, which is in firefighting mode? And also that part of how do I showcase to other teams from legal, the people ops, product sales, everyone to go, you can make an impact on this, and here's how. And that's where renewal probability became the metric. It became the number. So renewal probability got built where, with Claude as my best friend with this, and a lot of it being built out with it there, was to say, generate a score for me. 40% of this score's weighting comes from systems. It's being pulled in by what our product adoption score rate is, what our CSAT scores are over time, what's our benchmark for login rates versus what we're seeing now, what's our NPS scoring, what's sentiment from support tickets, what's sentiment from our email conversations you're seeing, how far are we from renewal, and even organizational changes for customers. So can we see that they're going through an acquisition, or can we see that they're going through a change of champion or a change of user, whatever it may be. 40% of the weight comes from 60% of the weight then comes from the CSM. And the CSM is trained with their playbooks to go, take the analysis from Gong, take the analysis from your emails, see what's been suggested here, and I want you to bring in the nuances that a human can get that an AI can't. What do you actually know about this conversation? What are the signals where you're going, on that call, that user in particular was incredibly quiet, and they're normally quite vocal. Why?
I never thought about this. This is amazing. I'm glad we're re-recording. AI won't know, like, if I made a sarcastic comment on a Gong call, like, well, I'm just going to cancel. It suddenly works fire off.
Customers definitely canceling what? And as an Irishman, I can say, yeah, I guarantee a lot of what I say is probably going to get picked up by Claude. They're going to think I'm canceling everything that I work with my systems on. But it's the truth. That is what we got to get, is that nuances that they can find. They then have a playbook they follow to go, here's how you set the score yourself. Here's what you rate as a sentiment. All comes together. Claude goes from 0% to 100%. What is the probability of this account renewing? And that's the core wording. We don't call it health score. We don't call it anything else, because we want to be able to go to everyone else and say, the actions you're taking, the risks we are surfacing impacts the renewal. And that's the core of what CS, no matter if you're a CSM who also has upsell, cross-sell, If your CSM is just measured by retention or logo retention rates, whatever it may be, it's always retention. That's the core element. So that's what we're trying to solve. That's what we're working towards. That then meant I could go to other teams and say, hey, you know what? As we bucket this into the lifecycle stages of a customer, we can see X% of our customers in onboarding have a low probability due to misaligned expectations. Here's where you can help us out with this. You can turn us around by rethinking what's our positioning like. An example we would have seen is customers underestimating how technical the actual setup is. How are we addressing that more head on and getting a smoother experience for our clients from the get? And that's been really powerful because then teams can go, oh, I now know what the priority is. I know now we can do X, Y, and Z because it does impact our ability to retain our customers. And the final part I say with that is we also use Looker. So this feeds into my Looker reporting where I'm able to go to our executive team and say, here we go. Based on all the customers and different segments we have from PLG all the way to the enterprise motion, here's where our risks are. Here's what's driving the risks. But more importantly, here's what we're doing about it. And that clear insights of that's the actions the CSMs are doing to own.
Amazing. 6 months ago, I can't tell you how many conversations where I'd get on with people in similar situation. They'd say, oh, first I go on a Looker, I go here, then I go here. And suddenly with all the MCP world, we can create these apps. Tell me, you had the idea. It's obviously not running on your laptop. Talk to me about how this got deployed to your team, who you used to get live for.
Yep. So becoming best friends with our ops teams and getting them on site. I showed them what I had built in Claude, but also a ugly spreadsheet. And the point of the ugly spreadsheet was just to go, look, quick mock up for you. This is the reality of how it works. Here's some real customer data I've pulled to show you it. Now here's everything in Claude. Here's the build up. What I need from you is obviously if we are to roll this out, we need to have this go to ensure that data and Lookers of a high quality and it's actionable and that can be trusted. As we implement Gainsight, it goes into Gainsight. Their MCP is solid. Everything's trustworthy there within the CSP or the CRM, same with Salesforce. But then the enablement for the CSMs is solid. And that was the other key part. We have a culture here in Supermetrics of everyone's AI native. Like, doesn't matter what position you're in, we literally have an exercise which shows how you can be using AI in all of your roles. We live and breathe by it. So when we initially had the idea of we're putting Claude in front of everyone, allows us to do these things, we got the same level of access to Claude, which is full. They could go in and build absolutely everything and anything they want. The knock-on effect of that was, of course, 20 people all building the same thing.
But they felt empowered, which is great.
Yeah, of course. You feel like, oh, wow, I'm doing this really awesome stuff. And I feel great doing it. But it's from a leadership level, you're going, I still want everyone to be super efficient with their time. and let's build things, but let's not work in silos. I was proven wrong on my skepticism with that, though. So we had launched this idea at our offsite back in February. Remember when we went through the AI side of things and saying how AI native we are, our CEO was beside me. I literally leaned into him and was like, you're going to have a huge problem because you're going to have so many people building the same thing.
You have a token payment problem.
It's, that's another podcast within itself. So, but yeah, I leaned in and said, this is what's going to happen. Yeah, I know, but just the process.
It's awesome. Sorry, I just jumped in there. What's next on the plate for you in the AI world to build or have the team do?
A lot of what I'm now working on is how do we take this and make it even more reportable in Looker? And how do we do more of getting our fields updated by this automatically and doing more of, can we classify as this is a transactional movement? But then the other long-term vision of this is to go, if we have renewal probability as our key that we're looking at, and we're standing by this thing that every team, regardless if you're in CS or not, does make an impact on this, how do we drive that feeling of empowerment of, yes, what I do makes a difference to our renewal numbers? And we present all hands of, this is what our performance is. It's going to be incredibly powerful. We can turn around and go, we spotted this risk in our install base. And because of the work of the legal team, sales team, product team, they all move the needle from A to B. That is incredibly powerful and gets that piece that I've been saying for as long as I can remember, that retention at the end of the day should be a company-wide metric.
I know. We chatted about that. Well, one thing I am I overgeneralizing when I say instead of creating a general field called health score, then we're always having a revenue perspective. And it's, are they going to renew as long as they're a customer?
Yeah. So as long as they're a customer, already going to. It doesn't matter what the ARR is, right? I think it's purely, this is renewal. Now, of course, the plays behind that will change depending on the book you're setting. I'm not going to do the same level for PLG as I am an enterprise customer.
Yeah, there's probably just, well, there's less interactions, so the less things to factor on and everything.
So the weighting there is going to be so much more on what do our agents spot, and how are we getting agents deployed at the right time? Are they actually showing the right information to customers? And how do we update that? The other thing I would say is the future is I want us moving to where we can say we're agentic CSMs.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me is the idea of an agentic CSM, I think, is not just, I'm a CSM who uses AI and it sends out emails. No, you're a CSM who, one, manages agents who are taking care of the transactional tasks for you, and you're constantly operating with that. And it allows you then to go, how can I use Staircase, use Claude to really give me that highly tailored, customized experience for each and every one of my customers without adding in more hours in the day? How do I do that? That's an agent.
Since you use the term agents, which to me is background processes that live and move things along, would those be department-wide, or do you envision people creating their own agents?
At department-wide, like that's
okay.
I think building your own agent is.
But he's a smart guy. He's going to say,
yeah, definitely not having that in a sign-off. But we have our agents. We have a library of agents as well, and I think the only thing that can sometimes live in a silo is we have some of our high performers as an agent as well. So there's Sean Bot, for example, and it's literally a case of going.
Love that you named him, because you know that thing I did at HubSpot. We talked about naming your agent, right? Because if you just say the AI agent messed up, it removes the sort of my department, which means it rolls up to me, which means I screwed up. So everybody built it after somebody in their department. And so the one name that stuck with me is Sharon. There was Sharon's the agent, because Sharon's the one who knows, the only place who knows where the contracts are, what the real ARR.
It goes back to my early HubSpot days as a CSM, where personas are huge in HubSpot for obvious reasons. But literally as a CSM, I could get off a call with a customer and I could say to anyone in the company, that was Marketing Mary. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. They know the profile. They know everything works with it. They know ins and out.
All right. Apologies for the abrupt ending. Sean was awesome because we were getting this echo thing. We fixed it. And then I think I had not hit record. And I believe we recorded a full episode and then had to hit stop and then realized we didn't. So we blew through it again, which actually I feel like we really got to it the second time. Great stuff going on there. Super pragmatic. I loved how he approached the problem. We'll fight a little bit on the numbers versus colors and things like that, but at the end of the day, he knew who his audience was and what they were expecting. So that was that. So thanks, Sean. And if you're still listening and you've built something out there and you want to chat about it and tell about it to the world, would love to have you. So reach out and contact me. I will talk to you next time.